had a Zoom meeting earlier.
This conference will now be recorded.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, I asked that we have this meeting based on the governor's veto yesterday, and regardless of what we decide, we should at least have a plan. Even if that plan is no plan, we should have a plan. So I didn't want to make an executive call on anything, and I want to make sure we as a whole, as a board, come to a conclusion on what direction we want to go.
So I think we need to find out from emergency management if we do need a disaster declaration of our own.
Yes, I think Adri and Randy are both on.
Randy Frank.
Yes, good afternoon.
Randy, the disaster item that we did a week and a half ago, or 2 weeks, was that our, I guess I would have put it in, the board voted it through. Is that our disaster proclamation, and does it stand and hold water? Or do we have to make a new one?
Sure. Since local disaster declarations,
Randy,
I'm here fighting that call.
you're breaking up, Randy.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Since our local declarations are relevant on the state declaration, I'm comfortable with the one we have right now in place. Identifying the public health emergency is going to be good for us. And there's a caveat here. If FEMA decides that our state has to do a new incident, since the governor's new proclamation specifically says it's a new incident, so FEMA decides that this is a new incident, we may have to do one. But at this time, I'm comfortable with the one we have because ours is not directly linked to the governor's. Ours went to the governor and then she made hers.
Okay, that's the way I thought I remembered it.
Randy, this is Kent. Did you listen to the KAC meeting this afternoon, Zoom meeting?
No, sir, I've been on several others.
Well, the way I understood it from Jay Hall, who's the legal counsel for KAC, he pretty much bluntly said every county needs to have their own disaster declaration, a new disaster declaration, because he said otherwise you could end up with problems with FEMA.
I understand his concern, but that's the voice of KDM telling us that their legal experts up there says it's covered. So I guess we need to decide which legal expert we want to listen to.
This is Dave, and they also said we had till June 10th, to make all these decisions. Because what Governor Kelly did runs out June 10th.
That's correct. Her new resolution is a quick ending date, or her proclamation.
Yeah.
10 items.
Everything.
I don't know, I think we need to find out explicitly whether we need to draft a new county declaration. If our county council deems it necessary, or whoever has enough expertise to decipher what's going on.
And just for efficiency and rather than having to reconvene, is the board comfortable with, if Randy comes to that conclusion that we need that I could go ahead and give the okay? That would put us out for 7 days until we could reconvene, and then we could have a vote, and the vote would carry it for 60.
Well, I would be in favor of the chairman representing the board on
Okay.
I'll second.
I guess I can make it a motion.
You don't
You don't
need
have
to
to.
because you've already done that by resolution. So you've already granted the chairperson of the board the authority to issue a verbal disaster declaration. So you don't have to take an action.
So,
I guess the big thing is the citizens of the county probably wonder, okay, we've seen all the other counties, what they're gonna do, now what are you guys gonna do? So what are we gonna do?
And are we gonna add or subtract some things to it? You know, I've been talking to some people, you know, baseball programs and
Well,
swimming pools. are big
I
thing.
was reading through McPherson's and it started out with individuals, business, recreation, schools, something else. They each had a bullet point for each one of those.
Okay, talking of schools, Mr. Traxon's up there, the superintendent of Peabody's schools there. I don't know where we wanna put him in, but he called me,
any information is good information.
yeah, he called me this morning, wanted to know when this meeting was, and so that's why he's online with us now. So
Okay.
at some time, I'd like for him to get in.
What time?
I mean, I don't know, you got Randy Crank, and we're trying to.
Well, I think that's resolved. We
Okay.
moved on to what were our policies going to be as far as,
And I think that Deidre may have, it may be good for you to hear Deidre.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Don Hudson's
One more
on.
point I might make is that, some of the rural counties, one of the questions was, does the county commission have the final say in this?
yes.
And Jay Hall's comment was, unless you have a board of public health, I'm talking about the health director, board of public health, you're it.
Yeah.
We are the board of public health, right?
Yes,
You are,
that's your
yes.
Yeah.
number one job.
You know, we used to have to reconvene in the Board of Health when we did a health, motion or something to that effect. We had to convene in that. Do you know about that anymore, Keith? There's still that thing where we have to, that's been a while since we did that.
Yeah, it has.
Been a long time.
Wait.
But we had to.
But you did.
We had to go into the Board of Health. to
As
make
a,
health
as a
decision.
separate entity.
Yeah. That was been 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't remember what it was about, but.
Well, if you wanted to do that, that is appropriate to do at this time, to reconvene as the Board of Public Health to talk through these policies. You know, I don't know the necessity of it, of that language, and I haven't ever run that by Brad, but I know that that's what he used to do, so,
Deidre was the one that made us do that.
right.
So is Dietrich on?
Yeah.
Can we hear from
Mhm.
Dietrich?
You ask her.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to get all their information first,
Yeah, that's, me too.
yeah.
Deidre, are you available?
Yes, I am, and Tina, I just emailed you what I'm gonna talk about. And I wanna get the commission's response to this. But I would like to thank the residents of Marion County for doing their part in keeping the cases at 0 since mid-April. We have had no community spread of the disease in Marion County. And as I mentioned before, community spread means the spread of an illness for which the source of infection is unknown. Individuals as employers, employees, and residents of Marion County need to continue to stay home when sick, practice social distancing, practice thorough hand washing with soap and water, or use hand sanitizers, wear a mask in public, and we're recommending high-risk individuals continue to stay home. If you leave your home for essential needs or exercise, wear a mask when you come in contact with people. I will not be ordering a mass gathering limit at this time. I feel it's up to the individual to apply common sense and maintain the 6 feet between family units. I won't direct what businesses should or should not remain closed when they open. They are strongly encouraged to follow the guidelines posted by KDHE And please refer to the covid.ks.gov for those guidances. Businesses must also follow their governing boards or associations. With increased movement of individuals and increased testing, we will see positive lab confirmed cases. We will also see individuals whom will be placed in quarantine because of being considered a contact of a positive case. KDHE will continue to issue travel-related quarantine mandates. The travel-related quarantine guidelines can be found on the KDHE page. Individuals placed in quarantine and isolation will receive a letter, and quarantine and isolation orders are enforceable by local law enforcement. I encourage individuals to keep a journal of their movement, including date, time, and location. People with COVID-19 have a wide range of symptoms that are reported, ranging from mild to severe symptoms. Symptoms may appear 2 to 14 days after exposure to the virus. People with these symptoms may have COVID-19. These symptoms include fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath, or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting, and diarrhea. CDC updates the list as more is learned about the virus. Please stay home when you are ill. If you believe you have COVID-19, contact your health provider. This strategy is subject to change when we experience a cluster in Marion County. At that time, the health department would issue specific health orders in its response. And if you go to that graph, that kind of, in a summary, issues what I would like in Marion County. It's behind that form that you have up there. Yeah, that's it. I feel like right now it's an individual responsibility, and individuals need to be responsible for their actions. And as I mentioned before, stay home when you're sick, maintain the 6-foot social distancing, thorough hand washing, and wear a mask in public. So I guess I'm asking the commissioner's thoughts and ideas regarding this.
So
And just please remember, Commissioner, to speak into your microphone so people can hear you.
So Deidre, am I to understand that your social distancing and wearing a mask is a suggestion? It's not an order?
It's a strong recommendation.
Okay, it's a recommendation, okay.
Deidre, did you hear what I was talking about? You used to make us convene in a Board of Health for questions. Do we still have to do that when?
Yes, and I was under the impression you called a Board of Health.
I think that if we could just make a motion to convene as the Board of Public Health, that would be great.
Yeah, I would so move to make that motion to convene as the Board of Health for Marion County Commission.
I'll second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we're convening as, yeah, Board of Health.
Okay.
So then, as the Board of Health, what are your thoughts on the strategy and the recommendations I have laid out?
Mr. Chairman, I think, I see some other superintendents or names up there, the school system. I think we've heard her, what she's telling us now. Maybe they have some input of what they, in regards to what their business is.
So, is,
Public comment?
Well, I think Ron sort of called me to make, he wanted to get right on here with the other superintendents in regards to
I
this.
see Ron, I see Max, and I see Aaron.
Aaron.
So,
Have their input.
So let's call Ron first then.
okay.
See what,
Ron, would you, gotta unmute you, hold on here.
He should be able to unmute himself.
Now, the main thing is, we've been taking pretty much orders from the state, from the governor. And so the inquiry today was, actually we're going to the new bosses, you guys, the new bosses, as far as what's going on in the county. I think, again, Max and Aaron will probably, will agree to the fact that, school districts will still take it slow when it comes to opening facilities. We're gonna be looking at, as far as the time frame, there's weight rooms, there's summer camps, there's activities. We're just kind of, more than anything, just wanting to listen in, see what what Deidre had to set down as far as guidelines for the county, and see what the commissioners were going to establish as far as a county strategy. Or some of us, it depends on what county. Some of our districts span 2, 3. In our case, Marion makes up the majority, but we do have parts of 3. No, more than anything, this was just fact finding and going to the new bosses, see what's going on. Do you have any questions of me?
No, Ron, just, are you comfortable, you say like weight rooms and things like that, if the state guideline goes up to 30, if we raise up to 30, follow the guidelines that's set already, is that comfortable, or is that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The thing is that I think one of the things that you'll find that the districts will do is probably follow the phases a little bit as they were first established. I think we're talking if, we get to June 15th, that's a phase out. We go to 45 or 30, and then goes to 90 after the first. So I think we'll feel good about following those phases. I know the main thing is as we work on, like I said, camps and all, we've got issues of making sure social distancing, 6 foot, there's just some things we gotta work on, when it comes to, passing the volleyball between each other and kids getting in the weight room. So, as long as we know what the main thing is, we can always, it's not like we're just gonna open our facilities up for anybody and everybody. I mean, quite honestly, if we're gonna have kids on our end, if we're gonna have kids in our weight room and we're gonna be maintaining that, I doubt if we'll open that up to the public, because that's nothing we can control, and we wanna take in consideration the safety of our students. So, I don't know, that's just, I think that, following the phases, and what Deidre set down as far as social distancing and all, I think that, that's what we just needed to hear.
Okay. Is any of your other partners want to speak?
And I do have Dr. Hodson here, if anyone has questions for him.
Okay,
I'm just saying, if any of the other superintendents are.
oh, yeah, I would like to hear from Aaron and Max, but, either one of you guys, raise your hand if you, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Ron just sent this out today, with the governor's orders yesterday, we've been kind of following, as all of us have, what she had said, and, turning it all over to the county level now. I guess we were just tuning in to find out where we're headed and what we need to do. I know that, speaking for Marion, our athletic director's been in contact with Deidre, as we're planning to open our weight room for our kids. We're giving her the plan, and she's been suggesting good different things for us to use when we open that up. We're not planning on opening it up any earlier. I think we have our weight room planning on being open the 8th. So, yeah, just tuning in to listen and, you know, I know that this was probably in the small type when you guys signed up to be commissioners, and you'd be the health board as well. You know, I guess just understand that, you know, we're willing to work with Deidre and you guys. You know, our number one goal is to make sure everybody's safe. You know, we have a little bit different district because I'm also dealing with a swimming pool. So I'll be with Deidre, going back and forth with her, as well as visiting with Dr. Hodson, to see, you know, exactly what we need to do to ensure the safety there as well. So yeah, just tuning in and appreciate what you guys are doing, and I understand this probably wasn't number one on your campaign slogan was to be on the county health board, but we appreciate all that you're doing, and understand we know we don't know what school's going to look like right now. You know, once we start opening things up and we get into June and July, I think we'll be able to maybe set a plan countywide, but I think it's also important that we work together as a county, especially amongst the school districts, to make sure we're trying to, I don't know, follow the same type of guidelines and making sure that we're all being safe and trying to have quote unquote normal school as normal as we can.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yep, thank you guys.
Max? I don't know if you can unmute. There.
Okay, I'm there. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
I would just go along with what both of these gentlemen have said. We do a pretty good job of meeting every week. I guess some of the questions that I needed answered, Deidre was at Tabor today talking to them a little bit, but just wondering about that 6 feet and how long that's going to stay in place, because if I would walk through our classrooms and the size of the classes we have, the enrollment in each one, 6 feet is going to be pretty hard to maintain and bring everybody back. So I'm a little concerned about that. I don't know exactly what that'll look like and what you guys see going forward, but that's you know, as principals are still with us until through the middle of next week, we were trying to just get some ideas on how we might plan for that. And like Aaron said, the KSDE will come back with a plan with essential competencies and how school might look in the fall, but just trying to get some ideas of where you guys might be going and what you might think. And I know that'll change as everything did by the hour. So like I said, I got some good answers from Deidre today, so that's kind of what I was looking for. And thank you for your leadership, and Deidre, thank you for your work too.
Thank you, Max. Hey, Deidre, just for clarification, I know we've kind of dropped it and everybody just kind of said 6 foot, 6 foot, but it's still 6 foot, 10 minutes, and less than 6 foot, no longer than 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's what we consider as a contact when we're investigating.
So if you can pass by somebody with tighter than 6 feet, you're still trying to comply.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, the 6 foot is only a suggestion. It's not a mandate. So if we're 5 feet, that's still reasonable and common sense, you know, in certain situations.
Oh, yeah, because nobody's gonna carry it around 6 foot ruler.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I don't think the 6 foot needs to be written in stone. And I will say, from what I heard so far, and the gentleman that spoke from the schools and Deidre, what I take away from it is actually, I believe the most commonsensical thing is the individual responsibility. These are adults, they're professional people, they know their responsibilities, they know their jobs, they know that the risks and the safety precautions, I think we should put it, just like Deidre said, was individual responsibility. There's not one size fits all. What works for the schools, or don't work for the schools, or individual schools and stuff like that. I would have all the faith in the world in any one of those gentlemen to handle their schools appropriately and do the best that they can. I just don't feel comfortable mandating or setting extra rules and regulations. People are really tired of it. It's time to loosen them up rather than tighten them up. And like I said, you're not turning it over to babies, you're turning it over to responsible people. And so I'd like to see that. And again, I did talk to Deidre, and it is a suggestion. And I think common sense, Mr. Crowfoot has said that plenty of times, common sense, it's all it takes.
I think we also need to think, we've thought of, those three gentlemen have a lot of children in their hands, and that's where all of our children are, and they're gonna be coming back to school. The other thing I'm worried about is the nursing homes.
Yes.
Is how they're gonna handle it if we open it up. I mean, and there again, we know that social spacing and stuff like that's a big thing, but, and I'm not saying that I'm against opening that by any means, but slowly, somehow. I mean, I don't think we.
Well,
Isn't it up to the nursing homes?
Randy,
to decide?
Go ahead. This is Randy.
KDHE and KDADS are working on testing, setting up testing procedures for the nursing homes or long-term care facilities to open. And there was a new set of guidance on the website for the care homes to reopen. So that is being worked on.
Okay. I saw something
I
on.
did get an email from Dr. Norman saying that they are trying to work with CMS also.
Okay, but I did see something on the nursing homes where they're trying to interact with the families and the patients. If I remember right, what I saw, that they're trying to come up with something, so.
For immediate family.
Yeah, immediate family, yeah.
the other thing to take into consideration, in my mind, is a big one, is with the governor's actions of vetoing that bill. There was a lot of good stuff in that bill, in my opinion, and it protected a lot of agencies from litigation and lawsuit. Without that, and you go opening just all the way up, you know, the businesses should still be allowed to mitigate the risks as much as they need to. So they can always make it more restrictive. I mean, it was the same service given to us that we should pass on to them, that they can always make it more restrictive.
Well, that's one reason where we need to let those defined businesses make their own decision.
Yeah.
I mean, I will agree with Diane at this point, with the duration of this and how long it's gone on and the education that's gone on, at this, it's time for individual responsibility. So.
I have one more text here that another businessman that's on Main Street in Marion, this thing has been so politicized that it's hard to tell what the facts are. I think we are ready to open, but with common sense steps to make sure we protect our most vulnerable, we can get it done. But we have to be respectful of the opposition side viewpoint. So it's pretty well what our task is right there, is I think, because that's a business waiting to open up from us.
It's a good mission statement.
Yeah. So.
I don't know, was it everybody's feelings, thoughts?
Did you want to ask Doc Hodson if he has any other
Yeah,
recommendations?
that's, Doc, are you still on with Deidre?
Yes, I'm still here. Yep. I'm here with Deidre.
Would you,
I go along with the personal responsibility part of this, probably more than anything. I think the main thing is people are tired of hearing about it. They are tired of trying to social distance. When you can't social distance and you know you should, the responsible thing to do in my mind is to wear a mask. we hear of people and know of people that have gotten the illness and not known it and given it to a loved one that ended up being very ill or dying. It's happened all across America. Hasn't happened in Marion County yet, but the problem is it's going to, and we don't know when. So you just need to keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about your personal responsibility as far as you're not protecting yourself when you put that mask on, you're protecting the loved one or someone else's loved one. And don't take it lightly. Use it when you think you really should.
Doc, I have a question with dates, just like the original plan, June 1st, June 8th. Is that the kind of goals that we should probably set to get some things opened up? Or should we set our dates farther?
It's already opened up as of midnight last night. But
yeah.
That being said, I think following the plan that's already been laid out is the smart thing to do and see what happens. You know, if we have a cluster, you know, if we have some event like one of the grocery stores has a checker that gets it and gives it to half a dozen people who gives it to another 30 people, then we have a whole different ballgame. But right now, I think we're just stay status quo and hope we stay lucky and stay vigilant that we're paying attention.
Thank you.
Kind of say, just go slow and steady, follow the plan that's in place right now.
So you're saying to stay with the governor's plan?
Well, if things open right, I mean, the only things,
Are you talking about the way they were yesterday or they are today?
the way they are today. The only thing that really can't open are bars, is that correct?
They're open.
They're open today.
Are they?
Yep. Everything's open as of midnight last night.
What are we doing here?
Well,
Well,
Well, we're open.
even if there is no plan, we should still have a plan.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think one of the best things that has actually worked is the social distancing. The crowd sizes, yeah, maybe indoors, but outdoors, I've not heard of a transmission outdoors, so I don't know that crowd sizes should ever be limited outdoors as long as they can try to maintain some sort of social distance.
you can't limit a crowd size at a church.
Yeah, and nor should we. We shouldn't.
No.
We shouldn't try to.
Don't try to touch that.
And I would also question you, Jonas, on where you get your facts or where you're basing your facts on that social distancing is the thing that saved us. It could be something else, it could be a combination.
You can.
I mean, to base that, 6 feet in certain businesses, in certain situations is just exorbitant, like Doctor said, common sense.
Yeah, and the businesses that stayed open, that were allowed to, they all adapted. They came to it quickly. They figured it out.
But I just think we're overstepping our bounds. I think we're control freaks right now. And I just don't think that's, again, you're a very smart man, and so is Mr. Becker and Dolke and all of you. Every business owner out there is equally as intelligent and as knowledgeable. Why can we not entrust our business people who opened those businesses and who have successfully ran those businesses to do this? Why do we have to dictate to them like we're their mother or something, like we know better? Because I don't know what each one of you know about other people's businesses. Everybody that we've talked to said they're gonna take it upon themselves to go slow. They're gonna take it upon themselves to do these things that would apply to them. I'm perfectly capable, I'm perfectly satisfied with turning it over to them. And like Dr. Hobson said, if we see something, then maybe we need to inject. But right now, give freedom a chance.
Yeah. Well, all we're here to do is make a recommendation.
Yeah.
And we can look at the medical community. You can look at the data. You can decipher any of that, it says that it's probably has made a difference. The
And-
distancing and the hygiene and all of that,
Yeah.
which we all should know about to begin with, and if we haven't, we've learned about it in this time period.
We're all better off.
You know, and
So
I
I'm,
agree.
I think that every entity should have the ability to, I mean, without any ridicule, just like the schools, if they wanna open slow, they need to be able to open slow. If a business wants to go wide open, they can open wide open. I wouldn't think it's wise, but they can do it. But I'm saying every entity should be able to, in my opinion, indoors mitigate their own risks analysis.
without worrying about enforcement.
Yes.
And I don't think we have the enforcement ability to, if we do have groups of 100, 150 or something to that effect, July
We
4th.
do.
We
Yeah,
do,
we
but
do.
we don't need to go there.
KAC today told us we now have the enforcement ability has been transferred to us.
If you set a local order,
Right.
if
Yeah.
you set a local order limiting it,
Right,
then
yeah.
you have the ability to enforce it through law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, this would all have to be.
It would have to be in order.
What
It
I'm
would have
saying
to-
though, July 4th is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be groups of 200, 300, and if Peabody has theirs, it's gonna be
Couple thousand.
thousands. You know, whether they come or not, I can't tell you that this
Right.
year.
There's gonna be
because
some,
I think there'll be some stay away.
mitigation just
Yeah.
because people aren't going to feel comfortable with it.
But what I'm getting at is, when you was talking numbers a while ago, and when I'm talking about the enforcement, our local law enforcement, to handle 1,000 or 100, I mean, it's.
Well, it still comes back to, individual responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
you might say, oh, I'm good with it going to Peabody and there's 5,000 people there. And 4 other people in the room might say, I think I'll stay away.
Yeah.
It's personal responsibility is what it is.
Yeah.
But you'd be in small groups, maybe 6 foot apart too.
Please remember to speak into your microphone.
But that's gonna be hard to do at a big festival.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We saw that at the Lake of the Ozark.
Yeah.
And I will say, when, just to add to what Mr. Becker said, which I agree with every bit of it, when you talk about somebody coming or infecting somebody, I don't care if you have 10 people or 1,000 people, that one person, if he wants to come, he could infect the 10, or he could infect the 5. So whether you limit that group or not, it comes back, like Mr. Becker said,
Yeah.
personal responsibility.
Yeah.
So the size of the crowd, to me, is irrelevant. It is that person taking that responsibility who knows he's sick,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, the
It's-
problem with this is they don't know they're sick for multiple days before they come down with symptoms. That's the problem.
You can't-
That's the reason why
you
Dr.
can't-
Hodson suggests wearing a mask, because you don't know
Right.
when you are sick and you can spread it prior to knowing that you're sick.
We can all put bandit things on, that would be good for 4th of July.
Yeah, and if you're in a large crowd, if you're in any crowd, I think Dr. Hodson makes a very valid point on wearing a mask. If you're out running by yourself, it seems kind of silly to wear a mask, and it's hard to breathe. But if you're around some people, you should probably look out for those other people. It's not a bad thing.
Well, then, am I hearing that this commission really is ready to, this commission be ready to, more or less say, open things up? And, with individual responsibility is where we're gonna turn it to then?
I'll second that.
I'm just asking you.
I understand, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point I am.
I know your feelings down there, okay? I got them.
You got the same ones, is that what you're saying?
Close, yeah.
I mean, like Doc said, chances are, we're not gonna eliminate it 100%.
It was never intended to do that.
But
It was,
but to mitigate it.
yeah, it was intended to slow things down so we could get proper things in place,
And it did that.
and it did that.
Okay, if we wanna open it up then, but let's say the schools come back and ask us, the administrators of the schools come back and say, we'd like to slow it down for our school opening. How would we how do we help them? do
Well, that's
that?
that's the individual leadership of those districts.
Okay.
That we would have to
Yeah.
allow them the flexibility to do what they
That's
believe is
what-
right for their student
That's
body.
what I said, if anything we make, they can always make it more
Yeah.
restrictive. It was the same courtesy that was given to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can decide whether to let the public in my building or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you shouldn't receive
And I
it.
just did like they was talking about the weight room. One school might say June the 8th I'm starting, another one might say,
15th.
well, we're gonna wait another week. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's your,
I did, it's because there was some good things in that bill that, was vetoed, that I did send a text out to Brad to see if we could do anything on a local level. I know that we're not legislators, so we can't really make law, but if there was anything that we could do to keep them protected from liabilities.
simple liability. Yeah.
In a Sue Happy world, good luck.
Well, our main objective is to look out.
You know, it'd be
the
nice to
public.
protect people from that, but it's still an individual responsibility in a certain way. Because I don't care if you running a business when there's a pandemic, or if there's no sickness been in the county for 5 years. There's a chance of civil action against you at any time by any person.
I guess made my decision here earlier this week before this all happened is, and I don't know how many of you, but I've been in Lowe's, I've been in Menards, cause that's my niche is lumber and things like that, but anyway, I've been in those stores where there is 300 and that one business, the weight room or something, or kung fu training, something like that, in Wichita says, I've got to shut my doors, but yet there's 400 people in Lowe's.
Right,
And
that's
so,
pretty messed up.
Right.
and that don't balance out with us anymore, so.
And if you've ever been in Walmart during this whole
Yes.
time, you got a perfect example of that.
Yeah. So I think we need to let our people make their decisions too. And you either got to cross the line or don't cross the line. If we're gonna put a line up, we'll put it up. If not, we're gonna open it up.
And if we do anything, we're gonna tie somebody's hands.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm in favor of, going with, some of the recommendations, the stuff we've always heard of, but the business is, in the end, is gonna have to decide.
Mhm.
I guess I'd make that motion that we open it up to the responsibility of the individual business.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
Does that include schools, I mean,
Yes,
cities?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, all
Any,
entities.
any
All
entities.
entities.
All entities.
Any other discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
And I'd like to back any of these schools or anybody that comes to us with a new problem that we haven't thought of.
Well, we need to be ready for a snapback provision.
Yes.
It's something that doesn't have to be now, we can talk about it again on Monday or whatever, but we do need to be ready to, if things get out of hand, we gotta.
And DV says, we gotta do this, we gotta do this.
Yeah. So with that.
So are you guys okay with me posting that letter and then also this on the website?
Yes, Deidre, I think we're totally in line with what you have.
Okay.
The only thing I think we added to it is that all entities would be able to be more restrictive if they choose to be so.
Right, I think the facilities need to continue to follow the guidance in like the cleaning and social distancing as needed, as they can. Cause I really don't think that, plus the masks are gonna go away for a while.
Right, and that's up to the personal individuals. People are already, there's a lot of people wearing masks, and there's a lot of people that get a little mad at you if you invade their space, so.
Right.
That's not gonna end until they decide for themselves that it ends. just to be clear, there's no confusion, but I'm gonna make a motion that we go with Deidre's recommendations in addition to our
To practice social.
Recommended guidelines.
recommended guidelines.
I second that, good.
Okay. Any other discussion?
The recommended.
It's recommended.
Okay.
That's what she's got here is recommendations.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, with that, I think I will close the Board of Public Health and reconvene back into our commission.
Is that a motion?
I don't think you have to have a motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you can if you want to, that's great.
I'll make a
Me as
motion
well.
that we
Second.
reconvene back into the commission meeting.
Okay, I think he's.
Second by Kent, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So as the
Now
Board
I can-
as the Board of Commissioners, would you like to, decide,
How we
county
operate this building?
facilities?
Yeah, that building.
I didn't kick me before that.
Well,
I
we
can't
are-
reach you
I
because
mean,
I've got a barrier here.
People can come in and do what they need to do.
I think
Just
Tina
social-
had a pretty good plan put together the other day, where, you know, the podium.
Oh, I thought you were talking about just the day-to-day business.
I'm talking about everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about the day-to-day business.
I'm kind of asking what you wanna do for everything. The staff that I've had the last 2 weeks at the door, I don't know that I can continue that unless we hire somebody specifically for that. Because people's staff need to be back to doing their regular job. So I may have some that I could staff temporarily a little bit longer if you wanna keep that up for a period of time. I don't know what it will be like if we just have the signs and the tape.
What do the
So-
department heads feel?
What do you recommend?
I don't have a recommendation.
Thanks.
Sorry, I mean, I've done a lot of planning throughout this whole ordeal, and I haven't had time to speak with the department heads about it,
But
so.
I think most of our personnel has become fairly comfortable with how things are operating right now.
I don't know.
Okay.
What we could do is I could hold a department head meeting and we could discuss it, and then, you know, we have this in place at least through the end of the week, so, you are meeting on Friday. I could kind of see where everyone is, and
Okay, that'd be great.
would that help the board?
And we can all think on it a little bit to help you too. I mean, that's, I like the way that you're socializing, you're still keeping some distance out here and doing that. I do see doors shut downstairs though, where I don't know that yours isn't, and the other one, treasurer's not, but there's the appraiser is. And
Their door was open through the whole thing, except for maybe mapping.
Shut
So
today.
it could be that they're out in the field today.
Oh, maybe so.
Yeah, they
Okay.
may not have staff.
Could be,
Yeah.
okay. But some sort of rules to that effect, but for tags or anything else, they're coming to the door and then coming up, they're not calling ahead, are they?
No, they're not calling ahead, but they're coming to the one
Right.
entrance, they're doing the screenings, and then
Right.
we're issuing the badges to
Right.
where we kind of have an idea of how many people are being admitted to
Yes.
each space, and then we have the lines for them to practice the social distancing per the guidelines, so, and we could keep that up. I'm just gonna have to figure out how to staff that if that's the board's wish to continue.
So the main concern for this building is the staffing at the door in order.
And
To
then-
be able to continue, and then the other concern is the attendance at the county commission meetings. Because, you know, we've discussed that, and if you do want to try to maintain the social distancing, within this room, you can't have really more than 8 or 9 people total, including the commissioners and all the staff.
Well,
So-
I thought your recommendation the other day made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and we're gonna try that for Friday to have some additional space out in the hallway.
Okay.
I'd like the monitor, don't drop the monitor.
The concern I have about it at this point is a little bit of a sound delay between what's happening in the meeting and what's just in the the hallway, it might be difficult for people to hear that are in there, so,
Could has our IT people looked at, you know, like what you talked about, a monitor out there with speakers or whatever it needed to be?
Yeah.
Just a monitor, and actually to keep you from having your sound delay, you would just need to plug into our audio port, throw a speaker out there. Just keep it muted.
that's simple.
Sounds simple, doesn't it?
Well, it is. It would go back on 3.5 and it would travel clear across fast.
Or are you gonna have?
Let's visit with about that a little bit after the meeting. Okay.
But Tina, I have a question then, all these sneeze guards that we made and stuff, the employees feel comfortable maintaining, keeping them up and?
Can you please speak into your microphone? Sorry, you're.
Well, I'm trying to see.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
kinda hard in here.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that the sneeze guards that we have bought and installed and stuff, I'm asking you, do you get to feel that the employees are comfortable, or more comfortable with those up? And then, of
Yes.
course, I think we provided masks, for them, and stuff, so if there's whatever else, and I guess you're gonna ask this question, whatever else they would want us to provide them as far as personal equipment for their safety as we open up, am I correct?
I was just going to kind of see where all the departments are so that you all know, but with their comfort level and everything, but yes, I mean, if you hadn't taken those measures, you know, I think that you would have had a lot of.
The one over there, I mean, for your office too, but the one over there in the treasurer's department's gotta stay up.
That's phenomenal.
I mean, it's very,
I think they all should, we bought them, we paid for them, they look
Yeah.
good, they should all stay up.
And if they need gloves, we
Yeah.
should provide them gloves if they're,
Yes.
you know, if they have an issue with paper.
As we go through cold and flu season, from winter and summer and stuff, they're gonna be beneficial throughout
Yeah.
all the different seasons.
And as far as the gloves, you know, we do use them occasionally, and offices that want those do have them, but it's better if you, once you handle a transaction,
Just
if you just sanitize or wash your hands instead of the gloves,
Easier.
because you
Can't
can,
handle stuff very well.
You get complacent with gloves.
and you cross-contaminate everything, because if you touch something, yeah. We sometimes use them if we're handling mail, like big stacks of mail or something, so.
my suggestion wasn't worth a hoot. I'm just gonna not even suggest it, cause I was looking for somebody to offer to sit downstairs, but, you know, I don't know whether the commission wants to do that and have them check in, whether you have one door open or what we do. Right now, we've only got one door.
Right.
So-
And I don't know that even limiting to one door regularly, even if you don't have someone screening, probably helps with the traffic flow, even if we have the signs of up this way, down this
It
way.
helps with security also,
Yeah.
which, you know, we've talked about a lot.
I guess, yeah, I'm in favor of, basically, you know, Deidre's got recommendations, and we approved to have the recommendations, we should be at least following them and leading by example.
Mhm.
But I was trying to think of who I would hire. First thought I was thinking of an elderly person, but yet they're the most acceptable, so that's
Yeah.
not a good thing to think of. I mean, it's just one of them deals. I don't know, you know, I wouldn't mind hiring somebody for a month or two to, if they wanted a job to sit down there, but I don't know who you would hire. I mean, the elderly people may not want to sit down there.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to put anybody at high risk.
Mm-hmm.
You've got quite a few college kids right now that don't have a job.
Well, that's true.
I guess you could just advertise it for temporary or whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
how else would you know?
Yeah, it wouldn't be permanent. It'd be
Yeah.
temporary, it's $10, $8, $10 an hour. I don't know what minimum wage is.
Temporary, keep you out from all the extra overhead headaches too, of, you know, insurance.
Well, I'm just throwing them out so we can think about Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, and please come back do that, Tina, with the
Okay.
department head and see what the departments need.
Okay.
But we've got other buildings, that building, and then we've got the building across the street.
Right, and right now, the Department on Aging is by appointment only, planning and zoning is operating under that as well, by appointment only. And,
What about extension?
Extension has just been, they don't have a lot of traffic, so when we went to the single door with the screening, they just opened. So they have the sneeze guards, we did get sneeze guards for over there as well in the extension main office. And so people can walk in there and take care of their business. And ambulance, really the only people that come in there are people with specific, like a lot of times the crew will be
It's
coming
mostly
in
just
there.
the
It's not really
EMS personnel.
much public in there at all, so.
So the way things are carries through till Friday, so discuss more on that as
Okay.
far as, right? Okay. Just making sure, and it's, and if we needed to act on something, I don't wanna drop the ball. Now, has, Randy had time to figure out if we needed to renew the disaster?
He didn't say, but he just went ahead and sent us that resolution, to, do a new disaster declaration, so.
One thing I might bring up, and it was really a question, Randy, but he said that Rhonda was keeping track of any costs associated with the COVID. KAC, and maybe they've submitted it, but they're wanting that badly from every county so they can know that there's a pool of money right now, 1.37 billion. And so they will know what your county needs.
We have submitted our costs for
Okay.
Marion County
Okay.
for the first round, for the first request, and
Yeah.
I think they're gonna want it updated again, and it's, so, yes, we did do
Okay,
that,
good, good.
last week.
Yeah, the first round I saw that Marion wasn't listed. The second round, we must have just missed the cutoff because it had Marion listed, so.
A lot of that was just not, it was coming in so fast that we hadn't had a chance to compile everything, and a lot of it is still unknown, so when I did answer that questionnaire, I just put, as of today, this is only what we know, there's more that's not yet known.
Right,
So,
yeah.
Well, we did make a lot of the purchases right off in the beginning too, so our big bulk amounts were clear up underneath the governor's.
But, we just certainly want to be able to get our reimbursement that we deserve.
One other thing is sending people home, keeping them here.
yeah, that is something that certainly some of the offices are asking, if that's to continue as far as trying to rotate staff or not.
I would think that would need to remain to mitigate, because you wouldn't want your whole staff in one department out because one bad actor showed up.
I'm just bringing it up, that's why.
And, that even presents its own challenges
Yeah.
with, being able to, we can get a lot of work done from home, but going back and forth all the time is tricky, so.
I think if social distancing can be followed, why not bring it back?
I agree.
I know some of the offices are not real conducive for that, just because of going
Right.
back and forth with each other.
Well, is that something that, I can discuss with the department heads and kind of see
Yeah,
where they are
that-
with their staffing
Be a
levels?
part of that.
Yeah, and you need to know that they're comfortable.
Well, yeah, it doesn't hurt the efficiency of they getting the work done easily at home and.
It's just more complicated, but it's still effective.
Be up to each department head,
So-
decide that.
So Tina, for the staff, I would ask this question, so just like we're here, nobody's sneezing, nobody's coughing, nobody's doing any of that type of stuff, okay? So the staff would have the same, idea, when you're in and here comes an employee that appears sick, even though they say it's just my allergies or whatever, you could take temperatures or something like that as well, could you not? If they felt
Potentially,
uncomfortable,
I mean,
if they felt uncomfortable that, Joe Blow over here is whatever, maybe
Yeah,
we should
well,
check.
you get,
Well-
especially this time of year, we get people with allergies.
Yeah, it's hard to
And,
tell.
if I could say, I can prove I don't have a fever, I
Yeah.
know what I've got.
Right, I'm just thinking that might be
But,
something to help.
people get nervous.
Do you have any other questions for Randy Frank?
I do not, he's gotta get something up 5 o'clock.
Thanks, Randy, I don't think that the board has anything else for you.
After our talk with Randy, though, that he has thought it'd be best that we would approve disaster resolution 2020-15, it's dated as of today.
Right.
And it ties it back to the previous emergency disaster, so that way we don't
I think
ripple.
the way it was explained to me, we needed that.
So,
Yes, I got that too, it'll be 7 days.
and then this would allow, as long as we do it as a board, to carry for 60 days. So rather than just myself verifying it, then we'd have to reissue it 7 days later.
So we made a motion, yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the disaster resolution 2020-15.
Second.
Got a second by Kent.
I have a question. So is it there, as we go forward, I heard something somewhere that now we have to be really cautious on our spending going forward because it's not gonna be quite as liberal as it was before, so we need to, everything we need, we can't say it's COVID, we have to be more specific, am I correct? Did somebody else hear that?
I've heard that too.
Okay, that we need to really be cautious on our spending because the money may not come back to us.
Yep.
Right, there's potential, and that's why it was so.
And that's one of the reasons for issuing our own.
Yeah. So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Vice Chair.
We'll go backwards today.
Oh, your name was next on the
Mhm,
list,
but we'll
so,
go backwards.
so I put it over there to you. Okay. Well, we're starting to lose people online. They're all dropping out. We already figured out what they do now.
Separate time.
Man, I got medicine.
Okay. Is there any other business that we need to discuss as it pertains to our leadership role in the COVID? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Oops. Have a good weekend, Good weekend till we see you Friday.
Yeah, I'll see you on Friday. I'll pass it through the window.
Have a good day.